Hi, chat. Hi, chat. Hello to everybody out there. Thank you for being here. This is the Thursday night show. And as always, I am Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. I am a defense attorney in the Cleveland, Ohio area, and I focus on criminal law, obviously, but do a little bit of everything. And this is the Thursday night show. So thank you for being here. Why am I out of focus? Holy cow. You leave the computer alone for 2 seconds and it does what it wants to do. You guys are having fun. It sounds like, some problems happened down in Houston. Everybody lost power. Oh, more than 1 million people without power because of high power tension. Like, oof. A bunch of windows were blown out in some skyscrapers. Ooh, wow, that's funny. Dang. That's some Donna. That's going to be a lot to fix. It's going to take him a little while. Ron says, bring on the audio problems. We may have. StreamYard just put out a big notice that we didn't have any this morning. StreamYard put out a big notice there's some issue problems arising when people going live. So just be prepared. There might be a problem. But I want to say hello to everybody here. If you guys are here for the first time, welcome. We try to give people about 10 minutes to filter in just because the notification setups aren't the best. Ironically, well, not ironically, but if you want always to know when I'm going live, Twitch is actually the best one per 2.0's research. Twitch always says when somebody's going live. But regardless of that, we are on Facebook, Kick, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and also Locals. If you guys don't know what Locals is basically Patreon and everything that Patreon was supposed to be, could have been, and should have been. Sadly, the people who ran Patreon decided to kind of do what they wanted. And they created a mess. And at potentiallycriminal.locals.com, you can have access to a place where you can say what you want to say and do what you want to do. And you're not beholden to the rules of YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, really anybody. As long as you're not Fed posting, it's pretty much okay, which is kind of cool. And even then, if you're Fed posting, you can do like a little bit Fed, just a little bit. That's between us. That's between us girls. Don't tell everybody. Don't tell everybody. Now, what you can do over there is you could join for free to be a member. It costs nothing. You could join, you get access to the wall we have set up. We talk about all kinds of cool things that are going on. Everything that's going on. You can post stuff as well. You can comment on things that people are doing. And then you can also just be part of the discussion and see what's going on. Now, to be a member is where things actually get better to be a supporter. Support is $3 a month. If you pay for 10 months, you get 2 months free. Obviously, there are 10 months in the year, and then plus 2 more gives you 12, which gives you the full year, and you get 2 months free if you pay for 10. Now, what do you get for that? $3 a month. That $3 a month, you get access to the Locals live shows. We do 2 live shows a week at minimum, and lately we've only been doing a Monday night show that's usually been going about 2.5 to 3 hours, which is the maximum Locals will let us use on their bandwidth. And then we do a Thursday night show, and that's directly after this. Like R. Kelly says, after the show, it's the after party. And we have fun, but we don't go to the hotel lobby. And it's a lot of fun there, guys. We get to talk about all the things we can't talk about here. We can't fit into here. It's really a fun time. There's quite a few people in there, and it's a really fun atmosphere. So I highly recommend it. I mean, of course, if I didn't recommend it, what good would I be to tell you to join if it wasn't good? But I do think it's good. I thoroughly enjoy it. I know everybody there enjoys it as well. And Amateur Iconoclast, I did want to say thank you for your tip you left on the Monday night stream. Thank you so very much. And then Icky Foo and Green Caps. I want to thank you for your donations, and because you could, just like here, you could super chat, but you can do it there. Thank you for yours as well. And right now, actually, what we allow is for everybody to join into. We have a live chat that goes every Thursday night during the show. You can join. It's open to everybody. And with that, you can hang out, shit post, and do all kinds of things um, that you can't do here. There, like I said, there really are no rules, and I don't know why it's not working. Oh, there we go. Okay, why is the live chat not working? Oh, there we go. The live chat's working now. I wanted to make sure. And if you guys are interested in joining and becoming a supporter, you can use the promo code SWITCHY, like the Switchy on a Glock, to get 1 month full access. And after that month, there is no obligation, but I hope you would stick around. So I hope to see you guys over there tonight. And that's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. And I did want to say one more thing. TX47 last week, we can hear Laney's lament and whining. TX47, if you're out there, you did send in 2 Rumble rants. They did not show up till the end of the show, and I wanted to apologize for that. If you're out there, I did get them. I want to thank you very much for both of them. So let's see what you guys are up to right now. So you can catch up here. Runkle's recapping Karen Reed. Bless his heart, he's too nice. Nick says Houston's about to have the purge. Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. Yeah. Good thing Nick's not down there, man. He'd be running them streets. He'd be like Nino Brown 2.0. Except for him, it'd be like New Jack-Off City. Jim is saying, I think it's kind of weird. Bronca said the guy who shot the cop in this house was justified self-defense, but the guy raising his AK wasn't justified. Well, no, he's allowed to have the conclusions he wants. Interestingly enough, I don't think the cop had self-defense, justified self-defense, and I'm actually going to do a video on that because I do agree. At the end of the day, you know what? Fine, he had the reasonable suspicion. I'll give him all that. He still doesn't have the objectively justifiable fear that he's facing death or imminent bodily harm. Every time you see a gun, you can't act like a scared bunny rabbit. If you want to do that, go work at McDonald's. It's safer there. Stabby says, I rely on messenger pigeons for Sean's stream notifications. Gotta be careful that the Falcons don't start sneaking them away. Juror 13 says, I'm a locals member and it changed my life. I give it 14 stars. Do it. Very, 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 very good. The Jim says, yes. So please support. And this guy, Scott McCullough, he runs Future Conflicts. He is actually, in addition to his job of being in the Army, he is a guy who's a writer. He has written a previous series of comic books, and he's working on a new one with Brent Evans and Blaine Pardoe, part of the Land and Sea series. Kind of like a little spin-off side journey kind of ish thing, and it's Land and Sea Paradise. And you guys can, if you want to support him, you go to the Indiegogo link and help him out. You know, Blaine and Brent and Scott would appreciate that if you happen to like it. It's got like, if you guys like mech warriors and mechs fighting, it's got that kind of stuff too, and aliens. Who doesn't love that? Nick says locals are posting your butthole, right? Some people, yes. Did you hear LaRosier's tactic to ask cops if they're trained to look at the jury during examination or cross in court? I don't think I've ever heard this from Matt. And Matt LaRosier's Fudbusters, if you guys don't know him. I should get a hold of him because it's been a while. I talk to him all the time on a server, but I need to have him back on. It's been a while. We're almost to the 2-year mark of Bruin. And that's so much fun. See where we are, really. I'm gonna have him on to see if we can do that. A celebration stream. The locals chat should be live now. See, where are you guys? Hold on here. What are you guys talking about? I'm trying to catch up here. MLS got a lot. David, how are you doing? Says, I prefer this chat. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. If you guys don't remember, this is David from the Making Law Simple show. After the What the Hales decided to be a little bitches and get his channel copy struck, David, moved on to one of his other channels. So, MLS God of Law. If you guys are interested and you want to see him, he's still putting stuff out, still doing content. You ever been to a pleasure palace? No, I don't ever want to go to one. Karen says game wardens kill hunters because they have guns. No. And game wardens are dealing with armed men out in the woods all alone who, all by themselves, who may have armed people out there waiting to kill them. So yeah, game wardens figure it out. Especially game wardens in like Alaska and Montana where like they'll really disappear. Mike L says, did you see the Air Force trainer that was killed when his seat malfunctioned? Oof, no. Premature ejections are never good. Definitely not good. Do you think the Daybell judge got it right today? So I heard there was an issue in the Daybell case, and it's about the indictment. And we're going to cover that in a second. Now, that's going to be something because we got Trump's updates, Karen Reed's updates, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Okay. I promise, chat. We'll get to it. All right. Stabby says, when I was little, I wanted to grow up to be a Gundam pilot. That would be fun. He talks about in Twig. I'll have to watch that. I have not watched the new one yet. You should cover. Well, that's goalie. We'll mention that when we get to the game warden case. Meme Copium. Josh, what up, buddy? Trumpet guns, let's go. Yes. All right, Chad. It's time to go. Everybody's here. And we're 13 minutes in. We got, how many people we got here tonight right now? 151 people watching on YouTube, 2 on Twitch, some on Twitter who are probably ghosts. 49 ghosts. Don't know if they're real. They're not real to me. Then we got Jacob Castro and Amplify the Signal over on Rumble. Thank you guys for being there. However many of you are over there, actually. I appreciate all of that. Wherever you are, you are the resistance. God, that was cringe saying it like that. I apologize, chat. Forgive me. All right, so here we go. First up, the Karen Reed trial. We've been watching it, chat. It's been going pretty good. That said, this is the slowest goddamn trial I've ever seen. And I'm still not 100% sure how the state plans to... The state's planning to present this case because it's not the way I would present it. It's very disjointed. They're focusing on everybody hanging out at the bar and what kind of tables everybody was hanging out at. They really don't have to. I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, generally, to me, that screams either you don't know what you're doing or you have a very sketchy case. Not that it's bad, but it's very rickety and there's a lot of problems. We got to today and the cross-examination of Colin Albert. He's pretty much one of the leading third-party suspects by the defense. That is the reason why John O'Keefe is dead. I think that cross-examination of him today was kind of, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't what it needed to be. So it was kind of a snoozer. Now I think the cross-examination of the McCabe's, which will happen tomorrow, should be very good. Hopefully it's good. If not, Karen's fucked. Karen is in trouble. I mean, she is not winning yet. And they're scoring points, but they are not scoring as many points as they need. J Rock says, I'm still trying to know how the judge knows what each specific objection is and how does that work for the record. Well, I look, J Rock, I don't know what to say, but like I've been in court before, and like if I know the guy's asking a leading question, I go objection, and the judge says sustained. You know, I don't always have to voice my grounds for it. Um, Sometimes I'll say objection leading, and sometimes judges don't want you saying it. You know, and then sometimes I'll, say, Your Honor, objection, may we approach? But yeah, I see that happening, but always try to stick in there, just the basic issue of my objection. But hey, they're making it work. And I know people think this judge is being biased or she's awful. I don't think she's that bad. She knows her rules of evidence pretty well, I think. She understands questioning witnesses and testimony very well. She's chided the state and the defense pretty equally on them just sucking about, yeah, asking questions of the witnesses. So I don't think she's that bad. Karen Reed's got far bigger issues with the evidence and just how things are looking. So that's kind of where I am with it. As far as tomorrow's concerned, tomorrow is a full day of trial for Karen Reed. And that's day 14. I've got stuff I'm doing in the morning, and I've got a court appearance at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, it's like a 30-minute ride away. It's like 30 minutes from here, from the hacienda. So I'm going to be getting back probably around the time they break for lunch, if I had to guess. Wherever it's at, I'm going to start running it and we're going to catch up. That's the game plan. So be ready around 1 o'clock or so. We'll be going live, but that is my game plan for tomorrow, and we'll just go and catch up. Let me see. Yeah, the witness list is 80 possible people. Yeah. Yeah, but they do it through this whole trial, only objection. I understand, and that's, yeah, I don't understand how they do it the whole time, but it seems to be working. They're not losing their mind over it, which I guess is how it works out that way. Unhung here for $2 says, "Oh, I'm gonna come." Well, don't come. Don't come. Enormous says, "Do you have a ceramic coating on your vehicle?" If that's a joke, like, I have no idea what your joke's about. So. And getting back to things that we did this week, on Tuesday night, we covered basically why I think we read Turtle Boy's indictment. We read Turtle Boy's indictment. And ultimately, I think a lot of the charges are bogus, but I do think Turtle Boy, as I said, when it came time for him to make the right decision, Turtle Boy had a big old glass of dumb fuck juice and he just guzzle, 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 because that's what you do when you get dumb fuck juice. You just start slamming it. So I think a couple of these charges are valid. Do I think most of them are? No. With that being said, though, Turtle Boy has waded right into the nonsense again with this banger of a tweet. I will give $100 to anyone who can produce or verify the name of someone Colin Albert has gotten into a fight with or punched. There's no way he's never been in a fight before, and we all know it. But having the name of person will be better and hopefully useful to the defense. When you're guys, this is just a tip, kind of a practice tip. your testimony, now you're indicating that this testimony's been paid for. Like I said, at times he's been Kieran Reed's biggest advocate. Things like this make him Kieran Reed's biggest opponent. Because let's say Turtle Boy does pay someone. That witness now has been paid for his testimony. What do you think happens with that? You've seen this quote. The investigators have. Once again, guzzle, 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 guzzle. Like I said, guys, the cup of dumb fuck juice never runs out. It never runs dry. If you want to keep drinking, it keeps filling up. And Turtle Boy is drinketh from the cup. Drinking from the cup. Okay. Well, his cup runneth over. All right. And moving on from there, we have wow, Laney's very sad. We have the Trump trial. Former President Trump dealing with his nonsense in New York City with Alvin Bragg. And today, Michael Cohen was up on cross-examination from Trump's lawyers. And Trump's lawyers fucking tore him an asshole completely. I mean, they gaped him, and they gaped him like Ray Lewis was stepping through. Just like, and then they just threw the hole. That's pretty much what they did right there. Just, That sounded like a train whistle. That's Lainey, the little white dog. She misses 2.0. So, yes, but Michael Cohen testified. And we learned such great bangers as Michael Cohen. We covered this back when he did it. He was trying to get off federal supervised release of federal probation. And he lied about the cases he cited. And what did he say? He's like, "Oh, I used Google to help me." So among the things he did, we also learned that it sounds like he was been talking to Stormy Daniels, and it wasn't just random phone calls. I mean, they just savaged this man for all afternoon. Now, do I think this is going to help? I hope so. But Inner City Press does a great job of dealing with this because I just, what do you do? I mean, you can't trust Michael Cohen. And we later learned that Michael Cohen talks about, oh, yeah, when I pled guilty, all that was bullshit. It's all a lie. Fuck the government. You can't trust me on anything I've ever said or ever done, including the previous plea deals I've signed. Oh, nope. The dogs are going to be sad. That's not her. We all miss 2.0. Well, she's been busy lately. And they just the amount of savaging that happened here. Because we also learned that, and this one is really beautiful, is that Michael Cohen kept on saying, "I don't want a pardon. I'll never take a pardon. I'll never take a pardon from Drumpf." He asked the lawyer to go back and do it and said, "Hey, can you ask on the down low? Can I get a pardon here?" So it's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting, isn't it? I didn't want a pardon. I didn't ask for one. But you sent the lawyers around kicking for one. Because he's a little cheese-eating rat. I will say Robert Gouveia does a pretty good read-through of this entire thing here. It's like almost an hour long of catching up to reading through it at speed. So, if you guys are interested, it is there. It is on Inner City Press. The guy's done a really good job with it. Who do you trust more, Nick or Cohen? Neither. So how many judges has Michael Cohen lied in front of now? How many hasn't he lied in front of? I think is the real question. That'd probably be easier to count. Imagine being such a scumbag you spend all your time trash talking someone you worked for voluntarily for years. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. That's where we are. That's where we are. Cohen's as credible as Cosby's bartender. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. Now, on a lighter note, this is from Ag Biochemist. He sent me something, and I think this is warming. And hold on, I need to grab our person of interest here for a second. So we've got our buddy Clyde. He's all, if you guys can't tell, we're gonna show him off for a second. He needs his close up. Look at him, guys. He's so green. He's so green. Look at this. I'm mowing the yard this afternoon, and he just starts rolling around, and most of the green's gone now, but it smells like fresh cut grass. And because he's here, we're gonna give him a little treatsy peatsy. You want that, Bubba? There you go. All right. Well, this I think is just a nice little kind of a mood breaker here, but give us a little bit of a nicety for the day. This is somebody said to me, said this is what Clyde does when he runs away. And here you go. It is a similar looking doggo. Oh, it's such a wholesome doggo. The wholesomest doggo. So. So, we got some super chats, Clyde. You did a good job here, buddy. So, Letty for $4.99. Thank you, Letty. I don't think I've seen your name before, so thank you for being here. And saying, Sean, I have two questions, but I don't want to derail the conversations. Can I send the questions to you now or waiting till the end? If you send them now, that's fine. Or if you want to wait till do you want down? All right. I'll put you down, buddy. Okay. I think he hears something to go chase or bark at. You could send them now or you could send them at the end. Perfectly fine. So I can save them as we go. Janet Morgan for $10. Thank you, Janet. It's $1 for Clyde. Yes, we can buy him all the bull peens he can chew on. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for the support. Clyde would appreciate it if he understood the concept of monetary transactions. Now show a video of when a pit bull gets loose. Yeah. Clyde leans the micro. He's already talked about January 6th being an inside job. He's talked about the USS Liberty, Building 7. He's done all that. So let's move on from there. Chat. We've got an interesting thing. The Daybell case, Chad Daybell, and Lori Vallow, Daybell or Daybell Valor, or whatever her name is, Anyway, these are the two nutters out in Utah and Idaho. They murdered their children. Each one of them murdered their own children. Daybell murdered his wife. And they both went to trial. Lori Vallow is doing life in prison. Chad has got the death penalty being sought after him. And there was an acquittal motion today in court citing some very interesting information. And there was an indictment error. Now, what happened? What was wrong with the indictment? So, hold on, chat. 1 second. Sorry about that, chat. I don't know why Lainey's freaking out, but she is doing it. So, Chad Daybell's attorneys asked for a directed verdict. And why? Well, because the final defense witness was heard in the case, and the prosecution rested. And what did they say? Well, they said that they're going to move for a directed verdict on the murder charges. With regards to Tylee and JJ, the two kids, there's no indication that Daybell was present or took an active part in the murder. So they go through all of this and they talk about what happened. Now, obviously, they're claiming he didn't do it. But the defense attorneys brought up a very, very good point. That there was an error in one of the counts of the prosecution's amended indictment. They said the indictment had a material error that stated the wrong date of death for one of the victims. The state marked his death as being between September 8th and 9th of 2019. And the attorney said that was clearly alive on those days, as there's photographic evidence of him being alive on September 22nd. And multiple witnesses attest to it. And now you might say, well, that's not fair. They're being sneaky. Guess what? That's their job. That's this attorney's job. It's not fair. Well, they lost their chance. They don't get to go back. And judge asked to dismiss it. The prosecutors admitted they were unaware of that error. And I've seen that happen before. And there are times where you'll just shut up. And they asked that they be given until Monday to correct it. And to amend the indictment is not hard. But the case had already been rested. So once the case is rested, it's over. The entire thing is done. It's not as though the state realized on their case in chief, oh, we messed up the indictment, we need to fix it. That happens. Or during rebuttal, we need to amend it. Or even maybe during the defenses, they could probably get away with amending it. Nope, Your Honor, we rest. We're completely done. They're asking for a do-over. Now, there are times when the prosecutors will fuck up. One of the big ones is when I'm doing a trial. I don't care if it's jaywalking or attempted murder or whatever. I've got on the one of the main pages on one of my notepads is the elements for each offense. And one of the big ones I always have, and I have a box, I'm checking it off as they go. I don't ever let them see it. And I don't know if they know I'm keeping score like that. But I'm making sure, did they check this off with a witness? Right, witness so-and-so fixed it. Witness so-and-so fixed that. There's always one box that you always make sure that they don't always check. Venue. Did this occur where it's supposed to occur? If they don't, I don't say a fucking word till we get to the end. Say, Your Honor, they haven't proved where this occurred. Now, prosecutors will cry and piss and moan and shit themselves raw over this and say it's not fair. Or they'll say, Your Honor, we want judicial notice of it occurring. And as the Court of Appeals apparently disagrees with me, apparently you could take judicial notice of an element of a crime. But what do I know? That said, though, I still have at courts dismiss because venue wasn't proven. So the idea of letting this sit till the very end, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how it's played. If they got caught slipping, oh well. Now, the judge is allowing them to go back and fix it, which is nonsense. And he concluded the mistake in the fourth count of the indictment was a clerical error. Sure, it was a clerical error. It was a typo, but it's a big fucking typo. It's a big typo. Sorry, sometimes those mistakes stick. Too bad, so sad. Move along. But this is the problem here. This is the problem. Say, fix it and appeal next. Yeah. Harris Riley says, oh, did the state forget to dot their I's? And so now the defense wins? Well, it's a lot bigger than dotting the I's. They're saying that the murder occurred in a time frame where the victim was alive. That's not dotting an I. That's not like saying the victim, you misspelled Daffy. I kill. Oh, God, who am I going to kill? Who are we using this example? I kill Nick Rekieta. And they spell Nick Rekieta's name. They use 2 T's. Or they spell Nicholas. They use with an S or a Z or something. And they misspell it. You know what happens? They can fix that because we all know who he's talking about. But if they say I did it on July 4th, and on July 4th, Nick was still alive, and we know he's still alive, in actuality, it was the end of July when it happened. That's a big deal. That's a lot more than just a clerical error. You picked the wrong time frame. You are the prosecutors. You are in charge of filing this. You pick the field. You select when things happen. That's your fault. So it's a lot more than just fixing it, forgetting the dot an I and cross their T. Yes, the state has a right to a fair trial, says Ken. It's so hard. I know. KJ says, so they got the on or about wrong. They got the complete time frame wrong. Imagine if they said it happened in a different location in a different county. Sometimes you fuck up, you can't unfuck it. So your mom has the right to these nuts. But that's the point here. And the court believes the jurors can be fairly and properly instructed with a curative instruction or some other manner in which to correct what they've heard. So they can be properly instructed in conformity with the evidence submitted. Oh, well. But sadly, that's not what we got out of it. It's not what we got out of it. Now, moving on to some happy news. If you guys remember Daniel Perry, he was the guy in Austin, Texas, who was convicted for shooting a commie as their little Black Lives Matter parade was roaming the streets of Austin, has been pardoned. And we'll get to, you guys will remember who this is when we get to it. So today, actually very late this afternoon, Governor Abbott is issuing a proclamation granting a full pardon to U.S. Army Sergeant Daniel Perry, who was in active duty at the time, following a unanimous recommendation by the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles. Now, this is important because in Texas, the pardon power is not exclusively the governor's. Now, the governor is the one who signs the pardons, but under the state constitution, the state law, a pardon board has to approve it. There are some other states like this. There are some other states with catches on their pardons. So I think in Georgia, for example, your sentence has to be over before you can be pardoned, or some things have to occur. A lot of other states like Ohio, if Governor DeWine wanted to pardon someone, and boom, it's just like the president. Very little that can get in the way. So it took a long time because of the pardon board. They reviewed everything. They reviewed his army records, the facts surrounding the 2020 incident. They reviewed all the stuff from the trial, the full investigative report, and all of the testimony. So they went through everything. They went through everything. J Rock says, yes, some states are just um yeah. Some states are yeah. Some states suck. Oh, you confused us with Daniel Penny. Penny should be pardoned too. Yeah, well, Kathy Hochul's not going to pardon Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny's the guy in the subway in New York City. He's still going to trial, but we'll be ready for that one. In Illinois, you just need cash. Very correct. Very correct. So, Letty, we'll get to that. I will save that for a little bit. Now, if you guys want to see what the pardon actually looks like, well, here you go. It's a proclamation. Proclamation by the governor of the state of Tejas. And they talk about Daniel Scott Perry and his inmate number. He has an inmate number, so because that's what he's being referred to, because he's in prison right now. His date of birth is 1987. He was sentenced in the 147th District Court to 25 years in prison for the offense of murder in a case right here. So they reviewed his history and the facts surrounding it. And they talk about the Second Amendment to the Texas Constitution and Article 1, Section 23 of the Texas Constitution. Protect the right to self-defense and to keep and bear arms. Yes. And Texas law, consistent with those, provides one of the clearest self-defense laws in America. It does. And it talks about Texas Penal Code 9.32a. It says a person is justified in using self-defense and deadly force against another when that person reasonably believes the deadly force is immediately necessary. And they also point out he's not required to retreat. And as he rounded a corner, he slowed down. People were obstructing traffic. And as he showed up, everybody started smashing his car because that's what they do. It's a tactic. Because then everybody wants to start attacking. And then Garrett Foster, commie boy himself, shows up with an AK, running up to the car. Well, Garrett pulled out his gun and smoked him. Daniel Perry explained to law enforcement at the time he used his weapon because he was fear of losing his life. He acted in self-defense. And then District Attorney of Travis County, Jose Garza, has prioritized reducing access to guns. And that's true. He has said that. And then down here, you can see this was filed with the Secretary of State, May 16th. So today, chat, this is piping hot. We then learned, and this is something I didn't know, that the DA directed the lead detective to withhold exculpatory evidence from the grand jury. And to get this done, yes. So the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles has recommended a full pardon restoration of full civil rights. And that's happening. So he gets full civil rights that may have been lost as a result of his conviction. Signed by Greg Abbott. Done. And attested to by the Secretary of State. So what does that mean for him? Well, this means quite a bit. It means quite a bit. Yeah, Abbott really did stand up for this guy. Mm-hmm. Yep. So what are you, hold on here, trying to catch up. What are you guys talking about? Yep, he got pardoned. I want Sean to grade essays. That'd be funny. I am a Fed. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go with that. I wonder what this does to a dishonorable discharge. I don't think it affects it because the UCMJ is the UCMJ operates differently from civilian law. So they're separate. They are separate courses of action. This also doesn't change the fact he was convicted, but he gets all of his rights back. So he gets the right to own firearms again. Now he gets the right. Have you been convicted? Yes, but I got a pardon, so he's good to go. But the conviction, removing the conviction, is a separate judicial act. And it doesn't remove what happened in the case. It just removes the penalties and punishments from that case. Some of you might say, well, what does that mean? Well, that means he's done there. Cedar Rose says, I didn't realize people still do pardons these days. Pardons are hard to get, regardless. Pardons are always hard. Even a commutation is hard. Yes, he gets his gun back. Janet Morgan says, so Abbott had a miracle and stood up. Yes, thank you, Janet. And June says, does this expunge his record? No. No. Doesn't his dishonorable discharge still remove his 2A rights? I don't know how that's all going to work. Because the underlying thing that caused his dishonorable discharge is now a nullity. I don't know how that works with the military. I don't know. So it's going to be an issue there, but I think he probably has an option to get that fixed because now he's been pardoned. So whatever triggered his dishonorable discharge is no longer there. So Patty, I think there'll probably be a way around that. There's got to be, because otherwise, if your case gets overturned, it's like you were no longer convicted of a felony, so you're no longer dishonorably discharged. So we'll see. His background check for security clearance would be interesting. Patty, honey, écoutez les enfants. His dishonorable discharge was predicated on his felony conviction. He no longer has a felony conviction. He was pardoned. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but I think he would have a very good argument to argue I can no longer be dishonorably discharged, and he could probably get a general discharge or a discharge under other than honorable conditions, which, depending on how that's phrased, you can still keep your guns. So just keep up with me here. The Board of Corrections for military records probably could fix it. Yeah, they could. Yes, he's going to have to get it changed. I said it's not automatic. But yes, it will change it because whatever disability existed has now been removed. Durden says, you still have rank while serving in military prison. He's not in military prison. He was in a state prison. The military just booted him out. So he doesn't get paid. He'll have to do paperwork, Sean. Paperwork. Yes. Yes. But we'll see what happens. But anyways, happy trails to Daniel Perry. That'll be good for him. And going down memory lane, I do think it's very appropriate to touch on this going down memory lane for the pardon here.
They don't let us march in the streets anymore, so got to practice some of our rights. Do you feel like you'll need to use it? Nah, I think if I use it against the cops, I'm dead. And I think all the people that hate us and, want to say shit to us are too big of pussies to stop and actually do anything about it. So.
So, Garrett Foster becoming a good communist once again. Garrett Foster became the best type of communist. Fenris says, want to make a bet that he's not get it changed? It'll be interesting to see why they don't allow it. What will probably have to happen is he waits till Trump gets at office and Trump fixes it. Okay, that could happen too, because Trump can force that, but we'll see. I don't know what you want to bet. I'm an Air Force retiree. This dude, he is not the norm in the Air Force. I understand. But how many people in the military getting convicted and then getting a pardon is the norm either? Patty, I will talk to some Patty. I'm gonna fluff this down for you. I will talk to a JAG officer, okay? I'll talk to one. Just shh. We're gonna fluff that down for you. You'll be all right. I can see the military doing a lot of dumb fuck things too. We'll see what happens. Was he enlisted or commissioned? He was enlisted. So, oh, you're talking about the guy at the AK. Yeah, he was in the Air Force. Yes. Yes, he was. And he got center punched. I will say, though, Patty, I mean, it doesn't actually mean you're innocent, but they're pointing out that the exculpatory material was there and that he was wrongfully convicted. So I think the way they wrote it shows that. Now, what the hell are the dogs doing out there? I don't know what they're doing. Okay. So we're done with Chad Daybell. We are done with all the nonsense of that. We are on to one that I'm going to tell you the story and we're going to read it and you're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe it, but all the answers are here. And this is really, 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 really fucked up. Al Fox says in 1983 proceeding for malicious prosecution. Nope. Prosecutorial immunity, bud. You're not breaking through it. You're not breaking through prosecutorial immunity. So, nope, that ain't going to happen. So, that ain't going to happen at all. Now, this one, guys, is absolute bullshit. And, chat, give me 1 second here. Hold on real quick. All right, we're back. There's going to be an ass, but no, I just tossed out some CBD treats and hopefully Lainey gets kind of mellow. Let's see here. It's not Clyde, guys. It's Lainey. Clyde does not bark that loud. Okay. So there you go. So this right here. A judge orders an Alabama driver to apologize or face jail for telling an officer, get your ass out of the way. Now you might be thinking, well, what the hell happened? And no, really, it's ridiculous. So an Alabama man who told a police officer, get your ass out of the way after he was ticketed during a stop says he was ordered by a judge to either apologize to the officer or face up to 30 days in jail. Reginald Burke says he's prepared to sacrifice his freedom because his First and Eighth Amendments rights have been violated. And he does. He has the freedom of speech. And he's facing cruel and unusual punishment. And yes, Alabama law says you can't use abusive or obscene language in public. Using it against the police is a whole different matter. They got to fucking take it. Burks was never charged with disorderly conduct. And, the word ass is not barred under law. And he says, well, it's in the Bible. It's a very Nick Ricade answer. So what happened? So on December of last year, he got stopped by an officer. And the officer said that he had been going over the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. So Burks didn't believe him and says, bullshit. How fast am I actually going? The officer said, my radar gun's broken, so I use the cruise control to estimate the speed. And Burks said, okay, well, fuck you, write me a ticket. After writing the ticket, the officer stood in front of his car. And he was standing there and he wouldn't move. And the officer standing there and not moving. And the officer said, you can go around. And then he said, get your ass out of the way so I can take my kids to school. That's why y'all underpaid, because y'all act dumb. Well, standing in the middle of the fucking road, yes, that's pretty dumb. So, good job, Officer Cooter. It's a bit dramatic. Well, fuck the cop for being a fucking asshole. Fuck the cop for being a fucking asshole. Fuck him at this point. Burks drove off and apologized to his daughter. Yeah, that's fair enough. So, the police say that the fine was paid. Well, if it's been paid, it's done. So he appeared in court, prepared to plead guilty and pay the fine. But after he paid the fine, which was $211 plus a $20 fine, that's kind of steep, as well as service of court fees, the Judge Nicholas Bull, told him he must also write an apology to the officer for allegedly having cursed at him. And he said, I'm not doing that. And the judge said, if you don't, by June 4th, you'll have to serve 30 days in jail. Now, there are some issues. The officer and the judge are white. Obviously Reginald Burks, if you guys aren't able to figure this out, he is not white. So the judges do have discretion in sentencing somebody, can order a lot of things like requiring someone to apologize. And, sometimes cops will make people write apologies to officers, especially like if they go like on a high-speed chase or they injure an officer. Judge, I want you to write a letter of apology. But when the officer's acting like a complete fuck knuckle, really fucking bullshit. And to sit here, and the funny thing is this really an issue of race? I don't know. But here's the problem. When this judge acts like such a monumental fucking idiot, when you act like such a retard in life, when you herp the derp so hard and in such a large and profound manner, people have to stop and wonder, gee, is this guy really retarded? Or is he just a racist piece of shit? I can't tell. So maybe he is. I don't know. The judge is so retarded, we can't tell the chat. We can't tell. So, I think he's fine to fight it. I hope he fights it. I wish this was in my area. I wish in Ohio, I'd help this dude fight it. I'd help him for free. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Cop fucks with you and you tell him quit being an asshole. Oh, apologize to him, boy. Like, fuck that. Fuck that. I hope they report this guy to the judicial board. This needs to be looked at. This dude needs to know you can't do this kind of shit. Not acceptable at all, chat. Not acceptable at all. Did I just say Nick and Bull? Porcelain Thunder says, isn't there cop or Supreme Court cases on this very thing? I don't know exactly about this, but I mean, yeah, there's gonna be some issues about what the judge can do. And Ken says cop Fifi Hurdy will be added to state laws across the country. I don't disagree, but this is the judge doing it. It doesn't appear that the department was ever involved. Although maybe that'll come up later. Mr. Otterpocket says in 1990, I asked a black officer if him and his lieutenant were affirmative action hires. They arrested me for 4 days, and they helped pay for my time at U of M. Well, that's a hell of a way to go fishing, man. But congrats. That is awesome. Ninja Bread Man says, can the judge compel someone who has already paid the fine to make the speech? The judge could say, normally, if there's a... Normally, when the judge is doing that, you've committed a actual crime, like a misdemeanor with jail time. So I doubt this was a jailable offense anyway, which really kind of makes it even weirder that he's adding on all these terms to a non-jailable offense. I don't get it. It's weird. It's weird, but and I'm not going to try to bag on the South, but yeah, this kind of weird shit happens in the South. It just do. It just do. Yeah, where's the NAACP or the ACLU? I mean, yeah, this would be a great one to go after. I'd back them the whole fucking way. It's very much like Roger Fortson up in Florida, which I'm going to do a video on, the airman who got shot. Benjamin Crump's involved, but you know what? For once, he's on the right side of things. So what? He's doing the right thing there. Alpha says, I don't know if race matters that much. You're right, but it's hard to tell. When the judge is so corrupt and so retarded, I can't tell if it's a racial issue or not. You know how you avoid me having to wonder whether or not he's racist if he doesn't do dumb shit? He doesn't do this dumb thing. It's like Mr. Blonde says in Reservoir Dogs. If they hadn't done the thing that I told them not to do, we wouldn't have been in this situation. Yes, the officer should have been ordered to write an apology. I agree. Gary Myers says, fuck knuckle. Is that a legal term? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, you could say that. I'm sorry you're an asshole is an apology. Yes. Crescent Fesh says, Cyrex is looking for help. Keep fucking moving, Chance. Alpha Fox says, look up the author. All right, let's look up the author. Is this going to... Alpha Fox is dripping, or apparently he's slipping in his juice. Let's see. Janelle Griffith. What is... I don't know who it is. She's black. Okay. So, black woman important about this thing that fucking happened. It's kind of fucked up. I mean, you could have looked down here and read it too, but I guess there you go, Alpha. Yes, apologize for being black. Yes. It's like, I apologize for fucking your wife, officer. Real judge or like a magistrate? I think that's a real judge. So let's see here. Actually, yeah, hold on. We can look this up. Judge Nicholas. Wow, that's already come up. Hold on here. Patty, you're Hartman v. Moore, U.S. Supreme Court. Yeah, Hartman v. Moore. Involving What a retaliatory prosecution action. Okay. I mean, I don't know what you're getting at, but all right. Um, but yes, this is a real judge. Let's see if we can find him though. Judge Nicholas Bull. Let's see here. I can't find it. Where is it? Is there any information on this guy? Nope, can't find any pictures of him or nothing. Curious to see what he looked like, but yeah, there's nothing there. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's Judge Bull. Here's a picture of Judge Bull. Apparently. This is their picture. That's the picture, Judge Bull. And you know. This is the picture, chat. Here you go. She's probably mad because he's out for cigarettes. 547 US 250. Yeah, Patty, that's the one we're looking at. Yes, the prosecution caused by retaliatory motive. The plaintiff brought, charges were without probable cause. Like, if you're looking at some dicta, that's not necessarily going to count. Yeah, it's all about probable cause and a bunch of postal inspectors, it looks like, who committed perjury. So, yeah, I'm not sure what that's going to do for us here, but yeah. So that is the judge. I'm sure he looks like exactly what you thought he would. Is it normal for a judge to compel speech like that? It depends. Like I said, there are times the cops will ask, like, the judge will order an apology. Like, if you piss and shit all over the inside of a car, they'll make you apologize for that sometimes. A lot of times, if you have a witness or a victim who, like, you just harm an ordinary person, say you need to write a letter of apology to that person. He's into buck breaking. Yeah. He looks like Afro Man's judge. Yes, he does. Judge Bull looks like he judges the bulls that plow his wife. Yes, I agree. What do you guys? He needs to be kicked from the bench. He needs to be kicked from the bench, but he needs a big sit down and he needs to write a letter of apology. He needs to write a letter of apology to this guy and a letter of apology to his community. That's what I would demand. That's what I would demand. Let's see here. Where are we? Now, what do we got over in? How are we looking over in Rumble? We're looking pretty good. How are we looking over in locals here? Brimstone saying I'm a Fed. I am not a Fed. Don't you do that to me. But this is a very interesting one. This is an interesting story here. This is a trial that's going on out in Oregon. So what happened? So a DEA agent is accused of killing a woman she was riding a bike while he was on duty. And his case has been presented before a federal appeals court. So it's going up to the Ninth Circuit. And at the center of the hearing is whether he could claim immunity from the state prosecution because he was an on-duty federal agent. And if you guys know the story of Ruby Ridge, Lon Horiuchi got that immunity from the federal government for killing Vicki Weaver. He was indicted by the Boundary County, Idaho grand jury, and the federal government removed his case to district court and then dismissed it. So in 2023, Margane Allen was riding her bike home from her work. And then video shows a black pickup truck running the stop sign and crushing her and killing her. And I mean, actually, I think this does show the video here. Hold on, chat. Does it show the video?
At 5, a DEA agent accused of killing.
Let's see here if it. Yeah, it does show it. Okay, yeah, here we go.
Video from that day shows a black pickup truck running a stop sign moments before striking and killing the cyclist. Behind the wheel was DEA Special Agent Samuel Landis, who, according to court documents, was conducting surveillance of a suspected fentanyl dealer. Landis had fallen behind the rest of the surveillance team and was trying to catch up when he allegedly struck Allen on her bicycle.
The testimony at the grand jury was that there was no urgency and that there was no hot pursuit.
After months of delay, Landis was charged with criminally negligent homicide on September 6th.
So that's the interesting part of it. So he's like doing his drug thing. The war on drugs, chat, claims another life, unironically and sadly. So they point out that there wasn't an emergency and that there was no urgency. There wasn't a hot pursuit. It was a drug case. It wasn't, somebody's life hung in the balance. So in September, he was charged with negligent homicide in a county court. But his lawyers had the case asked to have it removed to federal court so they could use federal immunity as a defense. And the immunity doctrine says if you're acting as a federal agent, then you're immune from state prosecution. And that's true. 100% true. It happens all the time. All the time. And where did this come about? This did arise out of the Civil War because you'd have federal officials and agents enforcing law in southern states, and this kept them from being prosecuted by southern officials. Because otherwise, the southern states could prevent post-Civil War and anti-discrimination laws from being enforced. So what ended up happening? Well, the U.S. District Court in Oregon allowed it to get moved, and the Oregon Attorney General appealed that decision, and they went to the Ninth Circuit. Now, the case isn't over. He hasn't even been tried yet. And this is an issue about jurisdiction and who has the right to actually have the case. So that's why we're here, and that's why this is being discussed. So that's what we're attacking. That's what's being attacked today. Yes, basically he fell behind and ran over that lady. And Alice is saying, then try him federally. You can't try him federally. Can't try him federally. Federal immunity. Done. Case dismissed. So there is no federal charge. There is no federal case. Hold on one second. We're back. Had toss out some more hemp treats. Hopefully she eats them and chills out. They normally kick in. Either that or Clyde ate them all, and he's really going to be baked. So, but yes, they're going after those dopers, and I got to catch up and fuck this lady in the middle of the road. Yes, no immunity for the alphabet gangs. Yes. Kimbo says if you're surveilling someone, wouldn't rushing give you away? Well, here's the thing, though. He was like trying to catch up because he fell behind the surveillance. So the surveillance teams are already far ahead. He got left behind. So nobody would know. So is jurisdiction an actual defense in this case? Not necessarily jurisdiction, but that he has federal immunity, and that, federal law trumps here, and that he is immunized under federal law. Laney is pro-sovereign citizen. $20 says he wouldn't have run over the drug dealer. Yes, I agree. I totally agree. This is an issue, of course, with the Reed trial, too. Everyone talking about Higgins' federal immunity. Well, he has no immunity. He can be forced to testify now. He can't be prosecuted, maybe. if he was on duty, but if he wasn't, he's tough. This also is an interesting one because there was apparently a streamer who ran over somebody while she was driving recently in the past day or two. I have not been able to watch that or see what's going on with it yet. I need to take a look at it a little bit more. Hopefully, there's more video out there. So, spoiler: the lady was carrying a dog. Yeah. Yeah, that poor lady and her family. I agree. Imagine that somebody kills your family member, and it's like, can't hurt him. Nothing can happen here. It's like, that causes you to look at like Gary Plauché and think that sometimes you may have to take some difficult steps and become ungovernable in just a little bit of a way. I'm just saying, sometimes you might have to. Sometimes you might have to, chat. I'm just saying it can happen that way. It can happen. Oh. Cyclists are not people, so it does not count. As much as I'd like to use the defenses of Jeremy Clarkson, I don't think they're going to work here. Potentially, Bob's saying, does qualified immunity apply to criminal charges or only civil claims? Qualified immunity applies to the civil action. The immunity that the federal government grants him while he's on duty that's criminal immunity. That's a separate immunity, so it's different from qualified immunity. That streamer wasn't charged. Oh, interesting. I'll have to look into that even more. He violated a right to life and property by killing her and destroying her bike. That would seem to violate the Constitution. Yes, but remember, the way qualified immunity works is they treat cops like they're retarded little children, and if they didn't know it wasn't wrong, sometimes if there's no court saying can't do that, then they're told, how are they supposed to know? Brimson says, why isn't Trump immune to state charges? Well, those are arguments he made that have been shot down. Trump has also made arguments that he was acting in his private capacity at times, so he's kind of fucked himself a little bit there, too. So that is, sadly, that is going on there. Now, another case that's out in the West Coast is the case of the Bob Lee, the guy who ran CashApp and invented CashApp, was murdered. And I know we talked about this a while back when it happened, but there's now some updates in the trial. There's actually some updates in the case that are very, very interesting here. And hold on, guys. And actually, chat, hold on 1 second here. So this is an interesting case, and I know you guys, we talked about this. This one is kind of weird. Oh, now we got the kitties meowing. So, a judge is allowing, and this is the part that I thought was kind of weird here. So the judge granted a request from the defense team for 7 years worth of the victim's phone records. 7 years worth. That's a lot. I saw that and I'm like, what? Not like, from the month of right before he died. Okay. 7 years worth. So he and that's Nima Momemi. He's accused of stabbing Bob Lee on April 4th in San Francisco. And they want access to 2 of Lee's phones to better understand how Lee and Momemi knew each other prior to Lee's death. And prosecutors have said that Lee had a relationship with the Momemi sister. Oh my god! And this is the part when I saw this, you guys are gonna love it. Khazar Momemi, yeah, she's got the Khazar milkers, and it may be a motive for the stabbing. So like he's gonna stab this guy for fucking his sister, and he'd be like, "No, that is mine." But getting all that data, that's a lot of freaking data. And this is a case that involves a relationship between the victim and the suspect. But 7 years worth. 7 years worth. And they point out that Lee and the sister had been partying the previous afternoon. Okay, that makes sense. But the 7 years are because they've known each other that long. That's still a long time. That's a lot to go back through. Like the relevance issues at that point. I am. That's crazy. That is so crazy. 7 years worth of getting those. Say Florence Dono says, imagine the fucking bill. Oh, who has the Narcan for dogs? Oh, God, my gosh. That's be sellers. They keep them that long. Well, that's what I'm curious to know about too. How much do they actually have available? What's retrievable? What is truly retrievable? Was the family's honor restored? I don't know. The cell phone companies keep 7 years for sure. What do you want? Oh, Chewy. What do you want? You can go outside. She can go out the door. I don't know why she's sitting here. So, if she meows again, I'll help. But the door's open. Sometimes you have to open the door all the way. She's like, "Oh, I can go through this." Burp. Okay. Give me 1 second, chat. Just like I suspected. The door's open, wide enough for the cat to walk through. No, but I can't figure that out. All right, fine. All the way open. Oh, I can walk through. Thanks. Thanks, fat man. Oh, jeez. Cats are weird. At least my cats are real. Yes. Was it a bad hombre that turned it into CashApp? Yeah. Yes. This is turning into a Stuttering John stream with all the hilarious distractions. Oh, please don't say that to me. Yes, the NSA has everything. Of course. Let's see here. What was it? Somebody mentioned a DUI here. Oh, somebody said, hold on. Do any of the animals even like you? No, they all hate me. They're all fed assets. That's why they don't like me. It's so bad. It's so rough, chat. You don't understand. Yes. It's 7 years of dick pics. That's the funny part. So I just thought that was interesting. The 7 years of records. Like, okay, they call each other a bunch. That's probably there, but 7 years of text messages. I don't think those are going to be readable. So it will be very, very interesting to see how that case goes. And I've been wondering what's happened with this for a while now because it sounds pretty cool. It sounds pretty cool. Okay, and then we are where is here we go. All right. Companies keep all your data forever unless you delete it. Yeah, but what exactly, like, do they keep all the pictures? Because, like, I don't know how it's going to work. Is the trial being streamed? I don't know. We're not even to that point yet. So, I would just assume for right now, I don't know. California doesn't really stream a lot of trials, so probably not. Probably not. AD for $2 is their defense in Ohio to getting a fish drunk. I mean, how do you know the fish is drunk to start with? That's what I go with. You can't prove it's drunk. But thank you for the super chat. Sweet Tooth says the sister is married to a prominent plastic surgeon and is still staying with her. Him. Mom thinks that the son is innocent. Really? Yeah, that's interesting. AD says it's legal in Ohio. I understand. How are you going to prove the fish is intoxicated, though? That's the point. I don't think you can prove it. That's the problem. They can't prove that you made the fish drunk. So that's how you got to think around it. That's how you got to think around it, chat. Now, we've got one that's really interesting at the end. This one is just more of a just so you understand, there are fuck around and find out rules for everything in life. And this one here. So 7 defendants were sentenced for the federal conspiracy against rights for violating the freedom of access to clinic entrances, the FACE Act, related to a 2020 DC clinic invasion and blockade. So people were charged for doing protest at a DC area reproductive health clinic, abortion clinic, in 2020. So one of the women involved was sentenced to 57 months in prison. A guy was sentenced to 21 months in prison. Another guy was sentenced to 27 months in prison. Another guy got 34 months. Another guy got 27 months. And then Jean Marshall, she's a woman in her 80s, was given 24 months in prison. And another woman was given 27 months in prison. So what is it that they did? What is it that they did? So they executed an extensive blockade. They faked a patient appointment to enter the facility. Okay. That's it. But yes, it's safely access reproductive health care. Yes. Safely accessing murder. That's always something I'm glad the government is protecting the right to do. Yes, 57 months for sitting in a hall. And that's pretty much what they did. They walked in and sat down. That's what these guys did. They're just like, we don't like hoes killing babies. And in this case, unfortunately, result in the injury of a nurse. Aw, well, guess who else is getting injured? All the babies that are getting fucking murdered. Just saying. Yes, the FBI will continue to investigate FACE Act violations in all jurisdictions. It'd be nice if they investigate other fucking laws too, but, investigate Antifa while you're at it. I'm sure they'll get right on that. Oh. So, what did they use ultimately? They got inside, they used chains and locks to barricade the facility and passively resisted their anticipated arrest. So basically, they're doing what the Palestinian protesters are doing. Standing in the middle of the road, and they got their arms in the pipes, and they're handcuffed together. Yeah, that's what they did. That's all they did. Yes, these are pro-life protesters. Yes, during the blockade, one patient had to climb through a receptionist window to access her abortion. Aww. And another laid in the hallway outside the clinic in distress, unable to gain access. Physical distress, like it was causing her pain that she couldn't get her abortion. I mean, if it's that bad, you could probably go to a hospital at that point. So why was she laying out there? And the brave FBI field office investigated the case. Yes, they're taking care of everybody, being so brave, being so brave. Yes, no baby murder for you today, ho. Yes, apparently that's an issue. Yes, is this an insurrection? Oh, just completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Then this one is another FAFO case. So, this guy, CJ Alexander, got indicted on 23 counts after he shot what was one of the third largest recorded whitetail ever. And I remember when this happened. This is like 2 years ago now here in Ohio, and this was fucking like, I mean, look at that thing. Look at those tines. Look at those. Just look at that. It is. Look how thick. Thick. Look at that rack. I mean, look at that deer. Look at his face. Man, that's a deer who's been through a lot. That's an old timer. And look, he's got a little points, everything. So, this began in 2022 when he killed the giant deer down in southern Ohio. And he gave interviews. And he said he took the 18-point buck while hunting with a crossbow on his sister's 30-acre property in Ohio. Well, the story was thrown into question when the DNR got involved. The fish police showed up right away and opened a poaching investigation. And they obtained, through warranted searches of a cell phone, that he had illegally hunted the trophy buck on private property 10 miles away. And the note, and here's in Ohio, you can use just a written permission slip. And actually, it could be like written on a freaking Post-it note. Written permission from his sister had been falsified. And was after the deer was killed. So, yeah. Yeah. Now, what happened? Before it was seized, the buck was scored by the Ohio's Big Buck Club, which uses Boone and Crockett. If you guys don't know, there's Boone and Crockett. There's a couple other point systems out there to measure the size of animals that you kill and trophy animals. And that is here, if I can find here you go. We'll look at this real quick. So Boone and Crockett, They cover all kinds of animals. So they do them for They do them for bears. I mean, if you can kill it, you can look it up. You can do it. Let's see here. What else they got? They got this is cougar and jaguar. Not a whole lot of that happening, but it does happen. So yes, there are other scoring groups and organizations out there, but Boone and Crockett is like the big one. And hold on here. Where's the deer one? Because you can look up all the animals. Okay, yeah, here we go. Non-typical mule deer and black-tailed deer, which is not white-tailed deer. Hold on, guys. Where's the white-tail? Oh, I can read. White-tailed typical. Here we go. A white-tailed typical deer. So it shows you how to do all the measurements. You do all the measurements and you add them up. And you add everything together. Now, here's the neat thing. Well, actually, for this guy, he's kind of boned because in Ohio, when you get charged with poaching, they do the Boone and Crockett measurements. They measure up the length of the spars, all the tines. They add up the points. And then they have a formula based off your total Boone and Crockett points, how much your fine is. So this guy could have a fine of like $15,000 on top of everything else. Say Juror 13 says our hunting motto is if it's brown, it's down. Yeah. Bucks like that don't taste as good. Well, that one you're not looking to eat that. You have to remove its skull to measure it. I mean, you measure the antlers, you measure the rack. But they're showing you the whole head and it has to be together. J-Rock says, I use their services, but for people. Yes. Boone and Crockett, all the hookers I kill. What in the fuck does the size of the animal have to do with whether you had a license? It's because they're trying. The problem is poachers are killing the biggest deer. This guy killed the biggest deer in the state of Ohio probably for a long time. He didn't have a right to do that. And if he doesn't get punished adequately enough, there's no way to stop poaching. Well, if poaching requires a $15,000 fine, broke dick hee-haw boy here ain't going to be able to pay it. So that's what they're hoping, to scare people. And scare people from doing this. I mean, how are you supposed to pay the fine if it's jail time? Because you have to pay it afterwards. Or you get placed on probation and told pay the damn fine or go to jail. Which, yes, then turns into, oh, it's debtor's prison. Well, those fines will follow him forever, and he can't get a hunting license. So, does Ohio have the wall of shame and seize the legal amounts? I think so, but I haven't seen them. They don't specifically have anything they publish every year. So, what happened? And, well, he got indicted. And this is a real thing. This is Clinton County, Ohio. If you guys know where Wilmington, Ohio is, this is way down there. This is God's country. So what did he do? Well, on or about in September of 2022, which is, he's running around and he used a spotlight or other artificial light to kill a deer. So this guy, it's not only is he hunting out of season or hunting with the wrong tags, things like that. He used a spotlight to kill deer. Like, that's kind of like, bro, come on. So that's a misdemeanor. You got charged with a couple other things. Hunting without a license. That's a misdemeanor. Okay. Not so bad so far. Hunting without a permit. A deer, because you get your hunting license, but then you need a deer tag. Misdemeanor of the 4th degree. Still 30 days in jail, 30 days in jail, 60 days in jail. Okay. Yeah, it's not too bad so far. Hunting without permission, a misdemeanor of the third degree, another 60 days in jail. Not too bad a problem. Hunting without a license again. And I have the feeling the other days he did these, they went out and found him doing this, or they have information he did other days. That's the thing. Like, you didn't get a fucking license, you retard. So another hunting without a deer permit. He's just racking up all the misdemeanors. And now it's not that big a deal. More misdemeanor, more misdemeanor, more misdemeanor stuff. Okay, well, where does it get bad for him? Like, where's the bad stuff? Well, don't worry, chat. It gets caught up very quickly. It gets very, very quickly caught up. With all these misdemeanor charges, you're like, this isn't too bad. And generally speaking, it's not, because they can only stack up so much misdemeanor time on them. But here is the problem. So, in the village near Blanchester in Marion Township in Clinton County, knowing that an official investigation was progress, knowing that he concealed or destroyed or altered a thing to impair the availability of the investigation, he removed and located an unlawfully taken white-tailed deer that he had checked as a 17 point, was later measured to be an 18-point antler deer. And the deer guts from where he had done it to a property owned by his sister. So he gutted the deer. And then he took the guts and moved them. And it was a stage illegal taking of the game checked animal. And this is part of the problem, guys. If you're out there hunting, and you kill like a record animal, you're going to get investigated. You're going to get investigated. Kimbo says, what did they do with the body they seized? They feed it to the homeless? No. It's gone. It's going to be, they seized it. That's a shame, says I had a jacklighting case once. I had no idea what it was. Oh. Yeah. Yep. Jacklighting is done it for coyotes. It's fun. Yeah, and there's also a landowner who's been watching that buck for years, getting it ready. That it's gone now. So. Justice Smith says, do you need to fill out a questionnaire before you can shoot? Hunting sounds dumb. No, you don't. But, I mean, if we don't have rules on hunting, deer became extinct in Ohio and for most of America by the turn of the century. Like the eastern United States, white-tailed deer were pretty much gone except for private farms. And then those deer would escape from the farms and repopulate. That's how we got deer back in America. That's like, I'm serious. They were gone. That's what happened. So it's the one thing the states have done right is conservation efforts. Benjamin says, if you use a spotlight, it's not hunting. If it's coyotes. Jerry says he didn't dress at his sister's. No. He's a moron. Do people know not leave their phone at home and not take a vehicle which records GPS? Yeah. Keopathic says California requires you to turn in a tooth and proof you pierced the gallbladder to stop Chinese medicine people. Wow. Now here's the deal with this tampering of evidence for this guy. Let's get back to this. Tampering of evidence, it's a felony of the third degree. Meaning you can face up to 36 months in prison on that. So that's not good. That's not good. And he got charged with another count of tampering of evidence, another third degree felony. It's another 36 months possibly in prison. Yeah. So this is adding and adding and adding up. And here's the issue. He got charged with a guy named Keith Snyder owned the land he was hunting on illegally. Namely $10,000 cash in our marketing services. By withholding information that his deer possession actually happened on his land. I don't think that counts as theft. But they're doing it. I don't think that's right. I don't think that's not how we normally would count theft. Honestly, I think that's a bit of a stretch. And he says, "Oh, I found this on my sister's property, not yours." And that's grand theft, and he's because of the value of the deer over $10,000, he's looking at 18 months in prison. I actually think this is a bullshit charge from reading that right there. I don't think that's legal. That doesn't make much sense. AD says serving all that concurrently. Well, here's the problem. If you get felonies and misdemeanors concurrently, the felonies eat up all that time. So, grand theft buck breaking. Jeez. So you can't do this. This guy's really fucked himself now. It is adding up and adding up and adding up. Now he's talking about this one here. He got charged with felony theft because this part's actually valid. With purpose to deprive the owner, blank, 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 namely of $2,000 because of the property he gave an interview to a magazine. And he held out, "Hey, I lawfully took this deer. I want you guys to cover my thing." And they paid him money for his story. So that's actually theft. And we covered that with the fishermen. Some people want to come after them for theft, and it's like it was hard to prove. Like the people that gave them a boat and the people that were sponsoring them had all been ripped off. And the $2,000 was compensation for the cover story of the magazine. And now he's looking at that's felony theft. He's looking at 12 months in prison for that. He got a bunch of this is where he got some other issues. So a company paid him $8,000 to use him like his likeness and pay for him to say, "I use this deer related product to promote it. Use this too, and you'll kill a big deer," for $8,000, chat. Which that elevates the theft to a felony of the 4th degree. That's another 18 months. That's a valid charge. So this guy ripped off a bunch of people in the advertising business. Deer urine, maybe. Deer urine, a bow company? It could have been the bow company, the broadheads, the tree. Like if he used a tree stand, the tree stand system. If he used a grunt call. If he used like whatever camouflage he wears. The trail cams he used. If he used like a climbing tree stand. If he used a blind. The arrow company. I mean, there's like everything could do that. Everything could do that. Probably his clothes, yeah. Mm-hmm. So did Meat Eater sponsor this bum? I don't know. Benjamin saying it can't be theft because the deer is owned by the state of Ohio. If it wasn't owned by the state of Ohio, they shouldn't be charging him. Trust me. That argument has been made routinely. It's the same reason why people have tried to sue the state, like a state government, saying, "Well, if you own the deer, then why are you not responsible for when I hit it?" And they say, "Well, it's a wild animal." I agree. Stealing it off the guy's land and depriving him of that opportunity, That's not a valid theft. I think that's a bullshit one. But stealing from these companies who paid him money to pimp their effects, yeah, those are valid instances of theft because he deceived them into thinking he actually killed this deer legally. So 80 says black powder is legal if you have a felony, not in Ohio. In Ohio, a firearm is any weapon that uses an explosion or combustion. So felons in Ohio cannot own black powder weapons. That will get you sent straight to prison in Ohio. So federally, yes. But state laws, you need to check your individual states. That's all I can say. Oh, Cleopatra says they enshrine this guy in the Cabela's pyramid. Ooh. Alpha Fox says, if my dog's chasing a fox and I'm not answering your question. 80 says, how about trespass? I don't know why they didn't do trespass. Ohio laws are whack. Y'all can't even have lockpicks. Well, you just can't get caught with lockpicks. I think Ohio firearm laws violate the Bruin ruling. Yep, and there's a bunch of cases that are challenging it. And I've got one right now where we're challenging Bruin. So we'll see. We'll see. The dignity of Ohio. Any seemingly interesting part about that comment? Okay, so the peace and dignity of the state of Ohio is statutory language. It's actually constitutional language. That you did it against the peace and dignity of the people of the state of Ohio. Basically, you committed this crime against the people of the state of Ohio. That your crime violated the peace and dignity of the state. And the state is the people, basically. Some states have a permissive doctrine. Yeah, but it's very, very, very rare. It's very limited. Modu says, I can't have lockpicks. Well, if you get caught with them and you're fucking around, no. But if you're just walking down the street and you have a lockpick on you, that's not illegal. So that's a little bit of the issue there. And with that, we need to get to these questions here. Letty says for $4.99, could you pull up? Actually, Benjamin Lewis says, are you trying to make me come, dude? Am I trying to make you come where? And Letty says, can you pull up Legal Mindset's latest live stream and jump to watch it? Why? What the heck happens? Like, I'm going to listen to it first and like, what does he do? I know. All right, let's see what this is. Oh, here. All right. Yes, we'll watch this. We'll watch this. All right, here we go, chat. This is pretty good. This is pretty good, chat. I'll comment on this. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here. All right, Letty. So if that's you, what's your opinion of the Deus Ex games? I like them. They're okay. They're not like my favorite is, but they're pretty cool. I like the storyline. The storyline's pretty cool. But yeah, here we go. This is kind of funny.
Becky. Oh no. Imagine joining a company and having to work. Oh my. I know it's horrible, right, Brett? It's horrible. Oh my God, having to work. Oh God. Oh my God. These streamers and they're having to work. It's like such a foreign concept. Einhander says, from what I see,
Yes, it is so hard to be a streamer and work. Streaming's so hard, guys.
time, any agreement that I can terminate.
So,
right? But once again, if you see somebody, and for example, let's say you started a channel and originally on your channel, you were doing really good law content, but then all of a sudden you turned it into a relationship and sex podcast. And your advertiser is like, hey, I don't want to pay you for a relationship and sex podcast. I was looking at like a law podcast, like, yeah, they have the right to cancel their agreement, right? That's a change. That's a material change. So these sort of things are normal, right? These are things that you'd have in contracts.
yes, it does matter. If you migrate content, it can be an issue. Yes. No, wait a minute. No. Yes. 268 people here tonight, guys. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate that. If you guys please could like, I'd appreciate that, and subscribe or whatever it is you're doing out there. And also, I wanted to say, over in Shade Chaser, I see you over in the Rumble Ghetto, and TX47. If you're here still, I do want to say my apology. I saw your super chats on Rumble. They didn't show up until after the show was over, so my apology for missing them. If you're still out there. And you guys are just here for Clyde. I know everybody's here for Clyde, and that's fine. That's fine. You guys could be here for Clyde. There's nothing wrong with that. So, show Clyde. I don't know. Clyde is busy. He's running off with 2.0 right now. So, Robert says, am I missing something? Just streaming's hard, man. Streaming's so hard. It's the hardest job ever. It's so hard to stream. You just don't get it. Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't know what it's like. I'm here for the Ukraine updates. Yeah, we'll talk about that later in a minute. And locals. Steel Toe. I mean, it sucks. It sounds like Aaron and April are getting divorced. I mean, that sucks. I mean, I don't wish. That's not fun for anybody. So hopefully they figure it out. And with that said, guys, we are all caught up tonight. We are all caught up. Let's see here. Letty, I hope I answered your questions and took care of that for you. Kaz says Lamau, too bad. Totivator says, I will eat butter for money. I won't. Yes, my temperature is 113 right now, too. Try some Provigil. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. All right, guys. So remember, Karen Reed is tomorrow. I won't be starting till about 1 o'clock. If I get started earlier, I'll try to put out the word, but keep your eyes peeled for 1 o'clock time. We'll get going from there. And Pseudosnark says, I'm here for the sex advice. Well, you're gonna be waiting a while there, boss. So that is it. Thank you, everybody here on Rumble, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, Locals, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Outfox says, send spoilers. No, do not do that, please. Please. And J-Rock says, why do we use a picture of Karen that what? Picture of what? Karen what? You forgot to do the rest there. Yes, we'll be going straight over Locals for the after show, guys. And you guys can meet us over there at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. Use the promo code SWITCHY for 1 month free. And J-Rock, yeah, you did miss something, so I can't see what you're talking about here. So, all right. With that being said, since I can't see what people are trying to talk about or they wanted to catch up on. Oh, my thumbnail doesn't look like her. It looks like her. Fine, I'll use I'll put a different picture of her there if that makes you feel better. So, chat, with that being said, thank you to everybody here tonight. I appreciate all the support from everybody here. And remember, until next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Unless you're out there like poaching deer like a dumb fuck. Don't poach deer like a dumb fuck. So that's my word. That's my parting word of advice, chat. So take care. Good night, everybody.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops. Even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty.